Hello and welcome to Founders Amplified, where we spotlight underrepresented founders who are driving innovation and impact across various industries and sectors across the globe. I'm your host, Narayan Kulkarni, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Today's guest is Mark Mancebo. Mark Mancebo is the founder and CEO of LATAM Talent Partners, a leading nearshore recruitment agency specializing in tech, gaming, and blockchain. Originally from Queens, New York, Mark is now based between New Jersey and Miami. He proudly identifies as Afro-Latino, with his father from Cuba and his mother from Jamaica, which has deeply influenced his perspective and approach to business. Mark's background in communications from Penn State University is complemented by his early education at Montessori School and New York Military Academy. His professional career has been deeply rooted in sales, spanning a diverse range of industries, including retail, real estate, robotics, SaaS, insurance, and door-to-door sales. This experience has given him a strong understanding of partnerships, business development, and revenue growth strategies. At LATAM Talent Partners, Mark and his team work closely with startups, large organizations, and venture capital companies to help scale teams efficiently. Their strategic partnerships with VC companies also allow them to provide recruitment resources to portfolio companies, further strengthening the startup ecosystem. With a passion for sales, recruitment, and business strategy, Mark is dedicated to bridging the gap between top-tier professionals and the companies that need them. He's excited to share his insights and experiences on this podcast. So, now that you know a little bit about Mark, let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to Founders Amplified, Mark. Great to have you with us today. How are you doing?
Doing great, Narayan. Can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm also doing great, enjoying the wonderful day, and again, amazing to be with you. Thanks again for joining us. Now, I just wanted to kick things off with the first question, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey. Could you tell me what inspired you to become a founder, and if there was any moment or experience that sparked that decision?
100%, 100%. So yeah, I guess I'll dive into a little bit more about my journey, because that really kind of dovetails to how I came to today as far as becoming an entrepreneur. So as far as my background, my parents, they're entrepreneurs as well. Um, they ran numerous different businesses. One of them actually a recruitment agency called Selective Staffing, back in the 90s, which they were extremely successful at. And then from there, they matriculated into outplacement services. And the name of that organization was called McClure Management Group. And throughout that time, seeing them essentially creating something from an idea to flourishing has always inspired me as far as eventually for me becoming an entrepreneur. So pretty much having that seed, planted in me from the beginning, since I was a young adult and also a child, kind of always had that in the back of my mind as far as becoming an entrepreneur. In what direction, never really knew for the most part, but I knew I always wanted to really be an entrepreneur. Um, Also seeing my parents as far as within the staffing agency and seeing how successful they were at it. I've also really wanted to essentially pivot into it, because I've always seen as far as success within my family within it, and my mother working in human resources, family members also working in human resources. So I've always kind of stayed close to as far as when it comes to placement and recruitment and things of that nature. So oddly enough, I actually started the Legacy Staffing Group, in late 2023. And that is actually the umbrella company of Latam Talent Partners. So started the Legacy Staffing Group at that time, but never really did anything with it. So I met my co-founder, Betiana Prado. I've known her for some time, and we just started, reconnecting and talking. And she kind of made mention, she's a technical recruiter and things of that nature. And how I approached when she said that was more so from a job seeker. I was like, I have a plethora of experience within sales, and I worked in technology. So I was like, hey, here's if you ever have something within that space, definitely keep an eye out for me, right? So she actually looked at my resume, and because that's the kind of for us, talking on a professional standpoint, she was like, you know what? You actually don't need a job. You actually, would actually be better suited if we partner together and launch a company. So funny enough, I was like, let's do it. That was just definitely, something on that side that I wasn't anticipating for, but that's the thing about life, right? Like a lot of how the journey through life is not really a cookie cutter or a straight approach. It's also these opportunities that you essentially don't see coming. So yeah, I leaped at the opportunity. She really expressed to me and explained to me as far as nearshore recruitment, which at the time, as mentioned before, I've had experience within recruitment, understanding like, technical recruitment and, things of that nature, but never really heard of the terminology or the niche for that matter, as far as nearshore recruitment. So she kind of put me up to speed as far as how that works, what is it about, and why it plays such a big role for startups and more so within that niche. And I thought it was brilliant, because coming from because I have a technical background as far as more so being in the tech space for some time. And even from the founders that I speak to right now, even right now, when they think about outsourcing, their immediate thought process is outsourcing services to Asia, like India, Pakistan, the Philippines, Thailand, places essentially halfway across the world, and not necessarily knowing that there's such a huge melting pot of just extremely brilliant tech talent right in our backyard. So you know being brought to speed on that, I thought is just an amazing, essentially, initiative for us to launch and get into. So, hence the birth of Latam Talent Partners.
Amazing. Thanks so much for sharing, Mark. It's so cool to hear that you have a family background in entrepreneurship, which inspired you. Then you have your own experiences in recruitment, and then you got to meet your co-founder. And then when working with her, got to do what you're doing with Latam Talent Partners. That's really amazing. So cool. One thing which was in your bio, which I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into, was it was amazing to hear that your parents, with your father being Cuban and your mother being Jamaican, that deeply influencing your perspective and approach to business. Can you tell me a
100%.
little bit more about that, and how that you see that in your work with Latam Talent Partners?
100%. Just seeing as far as my parents, as far as being minorities and working in a space where there's not a lot of us essentially leading companies, but now more so there are. But at that time, back in the early '90s, and seeing how they fought against adversity and hearing the stories, and some may not be mentioned, but unfortunately, that's essentially the case that us underrepresented founders and business owners would have to go through. And then seeing as far as how they pushed against that and became super successful within their own right, that always motivated me to essentially carve out my own path and my own niche, and just understanding how important it is to represent, and be that influential person, whether you're obviously in front of the camera, off camera, because that essentially carries. So it's very important for me to see as far as just my exposure to my parents and seeing how they carried themselves, which really for me how I mirrored and how I comport myself moving forward today. So that experience alone, and I'm very blessed to say that I have parents that have really paved the way and really showed how to really comport yourself at the highest level. Definitely feeling blessed, and like I said before, I carry that till this day.
Well said. And thanks so much for sharing, Mark. Something which you shared about Latam Talent Partners and which really struck me as well when we've had conversations before this and learning more about what you do is the innovative approach that you take to nearshore recruitment. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing that's really unique and innovative in recruitment in general, but also in nearshore recruitment specifically?
100%. Definitely want to educate those that may or may not know about nearshore recruitment. I know a lot of people may have heard of like offshore services. So nearshore is more so particular to America, Canada, is when you essentially outsource either tech projects or just talent in general out in Latin America. So why that is a huge benefit and also an innovative approach, more so particularly if you are a startup founder, or you're just a company that's looking to essentially scale and build out certain teams, is that you're able to get high level talent, brilliant talent at a more competitive essential rate, comparable to hiring locally. So as you may know, Narayan, tech talent, especially in the US, even on an entry level, can be very expensive. And it could be very arduous as far as just the process of just looking for and kind of vetting as well. So for us, we take the very innovative approach as far as being able to target, because for us, we don't particularly focus on said one region or one country in Latin America. I have a little over 15 recruiters. So for us, we actually are able to source throughout all of Latin America. So we could really dovetail as far as your search, as far as budgeting, and also as far as experience level from our standpoint, which for startups is a huge benefit because you're able to get the quality that you're looking for, and that essentially the funding that you receive, you're not essentially just burning it all just on just talent alone. So we're great partners when it comes to for startups, and that's essentially the innovative approach that we take within Latam Talent Partners.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. And I know I appreciate hearing that you all provide that talent for startups. I know in on previous conversations we've also had that I know that you also partner with VCs as well. So I'm curious, what about the work you do with startups and VCs make you, Mark, as well as Latam Talent Partners, a really it makes it a really amazing connection and a really great value add on both sides.
100%. A great question. So for us, as you mentioned before, we do partner with a lot of VC firms. And the reason being is that a lot of VC firms leverage us because, as I mentioned before, when the startups receive funding, their automatic thought process is to build and scale out their team. So for us, being partners with these VC companies, we're an added-on resource for the portfolio startups that they serve. For us, they could talk to their startups and let them know like, hey, once you receive this funding, we know that your immediate thought process is to build and scale. So essentially for you not to go through that arduous process and things of that nature, we partnered with a great recruitment arm where they're able to help you scale and not as far as exacerbate your funding that you receive. So you're able to place more resources into other things that'll help you move the needle forward for your team, and not just essentially exhaust that all in just tech talent. And then also, as far as VC companies leveraging us, they would essentially leverage us more so as a bargaining chip for a lot of potential startups and potential clients that they're going to be working with. It's for them, the conversation is more so like, hey, I'm not necessarily just going to be just providing you with funding and potential guidance. I'm also going to be providing you with funding and then also an added on resource for you to help you build and scale extremely fast as soon as you get the funding so you can hit the ground running. So that's why for us, we're really great. We have really great partnerships with VC companies, alongside obviously for the startup niche that they serve as well. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's really why we have our partnerships, and that's why for us moving forward, we're going to be delving a heavier focus as far as just being more so of that partnership with other VC companies as well.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense. Thanks for sharing. It sounds like that it's a really great value add, of course, to what you're doing, but also what startups are doing, with what VCs are doing, and obviously, as you've talked about, there is the economic incentive of hiring nearshore talent. But would love to know a little bit more about other impacts that you're making, and that like LATAM Talent Partners has. Say like in addition to economic impacts, maybe other social impacts, environmental impacts, or other broader impacts that you have due to the work you're doing?
Sure. Would you mean more so as far as like charity, give back? Is that essentially?
So when I say impact, I say it could be, yes, any charitable, philanthropic work that you're doing, or just by virtue of your business model, the positive impact that has relative to other models like offshore recruitment, for example.
Most definitely, most definitely. So yeah,
And
so
or just also to clarify, maybe
for sure.
because you are, say, hiring from a particular region or in particular sectors, what that might do in terms of the impact you're making.
Totally,
I mean
totally. So
impact in that very multidimensional sense.
got it, got it.
Yeah.
Very clear. Appreciate the clarity. Appreciate the clarity. So yeah, so from your standpoint, yeah, we do impact at a multitude of different sides, right? So we are impacting as far as the community, the communities that we source out of, right? Because there's a lot of talent within Latin America that really just needs a shot. They're brilliant, and they're hungry for an opportunity, and to be able to partner them with global companies, that is a huge impact for them economically, for them and their family, and then also conversely for the companies that we are sourcing these great talented candidates to, they're also benefiting from the great work that they provide conversely. And then also, so that creates somewhat of a catharsis, right? And a bilateral win. And then aside from that as well, we do really focus in on giving back as well. We really pride ourselves in, giving back to the community. We did our first toy drive this past Christmas, where we gave out around 50 toys to kids within the Miami area. We're going to be doing a laptop and also a book drive, and also we're in the process of also doing a toy drive for this upcoming Easter as well, and just continuing that motion as well. And I know I've talked a lot about my parents, but they're really the focal point, and also the standard how I essentially approach entrepreneurship, because for them on their side, they are still very heavily committed to community work and giving back to the community as well, with their internship, better said, their 501(c)(3) called Selective Corporate Internship Program, where they also, give back to the youth, as far as kids in, I always say kids, but they're in college, young professionals, things of that nature. I'm just so far removed. I know I may not look like it, but I'm far removed from college, so I refer to them as kids. So, but no, they give back very heavily, and they've been doing that for close to 30 years. So that's always been a part of my DNA as far as giving back, because I believe that's so important, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
you're blessed enough to be in a position to do so. It's really up to you to really to be able to go back and give to those that need that type of assistance. So yeah, piggybacking off of what I mentioned before, yes, we've done our first give back mission. This past Christmas, and we're going to be doing a plethora of others throughout the year as well. So yeah, so that's for us, Latam Talent Partners. We really want to be a hugely impactful organization, not only for the companies that we provide, quality high caliber talent to, but also for the communities that we're also receiving these brilliant and stellar talent from. And then also as well, I think it needs to also be said on camera because my parents, they're very they don't like that. So I like to kind of shed the light on them. So for us, we recently onboarded close to five, or I believe 10 students from Bolivia. To their entrepreneurship program, which I'm the president of, which I made mention before, select a corporate internship program. And then from there, we're going to be also matriculating into other countries in Latin America as well, where we're going to be providing training and development, and also obviously through Latam Talent Partners to matriculate them into job placement as well. So essentially a huge wheel of just training and development, and then from there helping them place and move forward within the either the corporate ladder or within entrepreneurship as well. So I know I said a lot, but that's in a nutshell. That's how, as far as Latam Talent Partners, really seeks to make an impact within our community.
Amazing. Love to hear all the many ways in which you are creating an impact and also how that impact has been and continues to grow over time in both scale and scope. Now, on the theme of growth, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier, which is again nearshore talent. As you've seen, like the need for talent, the growth in talent, and I want to ask you this question. So, how have you seen the demand for nearshore tech talent evolve the past few years through your work, and where do you see that going in the future?
Totally. And explosive. It has definitely exploded since 2020, since COVID, where the majority of companies, particularly in the tech space, have moved towards more of a remote first approach. Prior to COVID, it was a lot of in person, maybe even hybrid for that matter. But a lot of companies since COVID has really moved to more of a remote mindset. I know, probably talking to Elon Musk, he probably would say otherwise, but for the most part, the landscape is really more so on a remote standpoint. So for us on the nearshore recruitment side, that really opens up the door tremendously, where we're able to provide this service comparable to prior to COVID. They would have to have certain documents and things of that nature to come over, and then it would be just more so an arduous process. But because everything is more so on a remote standpoint, it's a lot easier to leverage said talent. And then to answer your question, as far as where I see it in the future, I do see it, growing. I definitely see a lot more companies, leveraging nearshore talent more so from the remote standpoint because there's a huge benefit, comparable to, the outsourcing to, Asia and things of that nature, where there's a huge time difference. So, like, say, for instance, I've talked to a lot of founders and CTOs that have and leverage development teams in India or in the Philippines and things of that nature, and that's a 12-hour time difference. Comparable, if you were to have that same development team, let's just say in Argentina or Bolivia or Brazil, and you're essentially more than likely on that same time zone. So it's a lot more easier to leverage, a lot easier when it comes to communication, and also just cultural alignment as well. It really it really is a huge benefit for those that are looking to hire and to get quality talent. So I do see nearshore recruitment being like a huge surge within the very near future. Even as of right now, we're seeing a huge surge because unfortunately, a lot of people are, oh, and I'm sure you see it on your side as well, Narayan. A lot of people are losing their jobs, especially within the tech space. And within that, obviously, that it's a tough time, but it also breeds entrepreneurship. A lot of people are going through that metamorphosis from, just essentially just thinking like, hey, I see myself with this company for, you know, 15, 20 years being alive for those days of someone really being a part of a company and having that type of longevity with the company. I think that's the days of old. I think that is unfortunately that's not what is happening in today's market, and a lot of people are witnessing that and also being the brunt of that said shift. So because of that, a lot of people are looking towards entrepreneurship and creating their own destiny, and for that, that's where we really come into place as far as really helping them when they want to make that move and that shift into entrepreneurship, where we'll be able to only not only provide them with the talent, but we also have other resources as well. So we do have an IT solutions methodology where, say, for instance, you want to create an application, you want to create a website, a CRM system, even if you're in blockchain and you want to, create, a unique blockchain item, we're able to create that for you. Also, if you have a video game idea, right? Like if you're a big gamer and your dream is always to create a video game, we're able to take that concept and be able to create a video game for you from scratch. So we're not just only in the HR, obviously recruitment space, but we're also within the product development and creation space as well. So we're really here to be there for startups, for startup entrepreneurs, those that are looking to become a startup and essentially don't know where to start, right? Because, I know and I have talked to a lot of my friends and those that are looking in entrepreneurship, they have these great ideas, but a lot of them necessarily don't know where to start or don't have the technical background. Like, hey, I want to start an application and stuff like that, but I don't know how to code. I don't know how to, do these certain things. So, it kind of not necessarily dampers the idea, but it makes it feel like it's not in reach at some standards, or you feel like you're gonna have to pay like an exorbitant amount of money, right? So in some other cases, yeah, you would, right? So that's really what we really stand for in Latam Talent Partners. We really want to just showcase ourselves as far as being the number one startup partner for you. Whether it's you're looking to hire, scale a team, or you're looking to build out a project, we're really here for you to help you and to bring that idea to life. So yeah, so that's essentially that's us on a nutshell for sure.
Well said. I really appreciate your reflection on where you see this space going. But now I'd like to hear a little bit more about your reflection on your own journey. So, as we're winding down with the episode, wanted to know, what's one thing, just one thing you know now as a founder that you wish you'd known when you started? I know there's probably a lot, but what's one thing that comes to mind?
Oh man, there's so many. One thing I wish I would have known. Um, hmm, One thing I wish I would have known. I mean, there's like I mentioned before, there's a lot. Obviously being a startup founder is not easy. There's no rules to being a founder. There's there's going to be a lot, especially while you're starting. There's going to be a lot of days where you're gonna either second guess yourself. You're gonna think like, hey, is this really the right path? And you really have to just stand firm and essentially what you believe in, and whatever how cheesy they may sound or whatever, but it's very true. You really have to believe in what you're doing, believe that what you're doing is purposeful, and really find the purpose in what you're doing. Because if you're just essentially just doing something, or you just want to say like, "Hey, I'm a founder," or I run a company, that is essentially very short-lived. So I would say to those that are looking to get into entrepreneurship or to become a founder, focus in on the purpose. Focus in on the why. Why are you doing this? What purpose are you looking to achieve by launching the company that you're launching? Because like I said, it's not easy, so
Mhm.
there's going to be a lot of times where you're going to have to lean on your why and lean on, the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing. Because especially when you're starting, there's going to be a lot of days you're really going to ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? So you really
Mhm.
have to have that really deeply rooted in your day to day, in your thought process, and just have that as a very strong focus, just moving within your entrepreneurial journey. So if that's anything that I could give, from my standpoint, that's just really focus in on your purpose and also your why of what you're doing, is why you're becoming an entrepreneur.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Mark. How can people find you and support your work?
Most definitely. So yeah, they could find me obviously on LinkedIn, on Mark Mancebo. That's my personal LinkedIn page. Mark Mark Mancebo Mancebo as in boy O. And then obviously on our company page, Latam Latam Talent Partners. And then also you could find us on Instagram, Facebook. And also our website as well, which is latp.us. And from there, you'll be able to see, all of the services. I know I kind of touched a little briefly as far as, our services and how we're able to really be a resource to companies and also for those looking to start a company. But on our website, it gives you a deeper dive as far as the specifics on how we could really be a great help. So I would say definitely check us
Amazing.
out on there as well. So yeah, those are
Amazing.
the places. Those are the
Amazing.
places. Those are the
Amazing.
places. Those are
Thanks.
the
Thanks,
places.
Mark. So now our signature question, can you be really brief to say, I amplify, just fill in the blank with one or two words?
Uh, what do you want me to say? I amplify and
I
then one or
amplify,
two.
just fill in the blank with something that you amplify.
Oh, so uh, I amplify. I amplify true confidence in oneself. I believe that having confidence within yourself and really believing in yourself is my personal driving factor. You
Gotcha.
know,
Thanks so much, Mark. Really
oh,
appreciate it. I want to pause because I know we're running out of time. And I actually want to pause there because this is something I appreciate about you and I want to highlight this. So thanks so
for
much, Mark, for
sure.
joining us and sharing your insights with us. So amazing to hear what you're doing with Latam Talent Partners and the innovative things you're doing and the positive impact you're enabling. I just really want to celebrate your confidence, your why,
Thank
your
you.
intention. I love how you present yourself with confidence. You have a love for your parents, and you show that in how you build relationships and the other impact you're making. I want to celebrate that. And thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being here and doing that for the world. Great to be with you,
Appreciate
Mark.
that,
Thanks
Ryan.
again.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, man. Have a great day. Be blessed. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
All right.
To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Founders Amplified. I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am. If you'd like to learn more about our guest and support them, check out the show notes for their details. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating, share it with someone you know, and follow us for more inspiring episodes like this one. If you're a founder who is driving innovation and impact in any industry or sector anywhere in the world and would like to be a guest, we'd love to hear from you. Check out the show notes for more information. And finally, remember that you, yes, you, have the power to amplify the voices around you. Whether you're a colleague, family member, friend, funder, mentor, or just another fellow human, your support matters. So I invite you to celebrate and uplift the underrepresented innovators in your life who are driving innovation and impact. Let's create a better future for everyone, together. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep amplifying.